Hello, I'm Corey Ketchum. I'm here with Mr. Sammie Albritton. Sammie Albritton is a sales representative for Mayo Fertilizer. Mayo Fertilizer is a company based out of Mayo, Florida, up in the Panhandle. And we're going to ask a couple questions about the using scarcity and urgency to generate sales and ensure sales. So, Mr. Albritton, how does scarcity impact the ability to sell a product in both sense of a product that sells well and a new product?
Well, what you look at, if you know a product's going to be scarce, you try to buy in as much as you can. And what I try to do, I take care of my good customers. The ones I know that are good farmers, they pay good, and they're loyal to me, so I'm loyal to them, and I'm going to make sure they have the product they need. And on new products, a lot of the older farmers, they're not as adaptive as younger farmers. So what you want to do is go do plots with your younger farmers they're more open-minded to try new things. And usually the new products, there's some new ones that came out, are very, very good products. Like Marivis is one in peanuts. I mean, and in watermelons, it's probably one of the best early leaf blight and late leaf blight material I've ever seen. And once we got a hold of it, we had a decent supply, but we didn't have a great supply, so we took care of our good customers. And you got to look after your good customers, because there's guys that's going to price shop you. If you're a penny higher, they're going to go somewhere else. You look after the guys that they know if they call you on a Sunday afternoon, they got a problem in their crop, you're going to leave the house and go see them and see what they got going on. And they know if you're going to do that for them, they're not going to price shop you so hard.
So as a whole, like with even the new technology, the sense of urgency and the sense of scarcity allows you to pick people that you want and have the product and able to test it, or even if they're not testing it, use it actively and ensure that they're going to have proper success with the product.
Yeah. A lot of the basics will give you product to take to the farmer, and there's other farmers, older farmers. There's some of them that want to try something new, and you get them to try it for free. For sure, they're gonna do it. Mm-hmm. But most basics will give you free material, unless it's a real expensive product that they want you to sell it.
Yeah.
But what you can work out, you give me, like a 40-acre block, you give me 20 acres, and he'll buy 20 acres. And that way you can test new material.
So as a whole, you feel like it's always an advantage for you to take kind of like a product that has scarcity, or even a person that has urgency. Do you feel like it's an advantage to you making a sale with the customer?
Well, I don't like anything scarce.
Yeah.
Chlorothianil, which is one of the oldest and still one of the basic fungicides. We've been fighting that problem forever about it being scarce because of the Syngenta plant in Louisiana, or Texas. It is in Texas. This is wore out. They couldn't make enough material. And it was a fight because you're dealing with 435-ton peanuts on runner peanuts, and that's their bait. That's a cheap spray, and it's a basic all-around spray. It's never had any resistance to it, and when you're running short on that, it's a problem. I mean, I just don't like scarcity of products, period.
No, scarcity in a sense because you might not be able to guarantee a sale that you already had set up as a whole.
That's exactly right. Because you promise a man something and then you can't deliver to him. That ain't good.
And that hurts your reputation, hurts your opinion of people.
It's not good. It's not good at all.
So if let's say you don't have scarcity, let's say you have urgency. Does urgency allow you to kind of like, a customer, let's say a guy needs to boost yield on a hay field, all right? So he calls you up and says, Sammie, Mr. Albritton, I need this, that, and the other. I need like a high nitrogen, high potassium mix to boost up yield, get ready for haylage or dry hay production, whatever he's doing. And he says, I need this immediately. So as a whole, do you look at that as an opportunity for you and your company, and you really take advantage of that? And
Nah, we got a different philosophy. My philosophy is, I'll shear you, but I won't skin you. And I'm not, we got to make money, but the farmer's got to make money.
Yes, sir.
You skin somebody, you can do it one time. You ain't gonna do it twice. But if you shear them, they'll get their hair back.
Yeah.
But it's our base is fertilizer. That's what brought us to the dance. But we expanded where we're really competitive in a lot of other things. Seed corn, chemicals. I mean, but the owner of the company, he wants to make a fair profit.
I've met the Shaws. They're good people.
They are good people, and if you run a farmer out of business, there ain't no farmers coming around.
No, sir.
Young folks can afford the capital to go into business. You're looking at $150,000, $200,000 tractors. You're looking at $5,000 and $6,000 an acre land, planting 425 a ton peanut, and you're not going to yield but 3,000 pounds. It's ugly.
Yes, sir.
A lot of farmers are eating equity up. And it's how long they want to eat equity up in their land, their assets. It's not as bad as back in the 70s. In the 80s, there's some years in the 80s, 87, 88 were bad, but it's pretty tough. I mean, there's not a lot of profit. You're getting back to $600 calves, $500 calves. It's ugly. 425, 435 peanuts. It's ugly.
I remember back in '09 when the cattle price dropped down to.
You thin cows right now 50 cents.
Yeah.
If you can get it, might be 30 cents.
Oh, I remember when it was.
I remember that. I remember that 40 years ago.
Yes, sir.
So that is always. I need some economy professor to tell me when the regular economy is doing great, why does the farming economy stink? And when the regular economy is doing terrible, like through the Obama years, the farming economy was doing good. And it's just always been that way.
Yes, sir. So, going on the whole idea with selling product to customers as a whole, farmers, they go off on credit a lot. And it's the belief that with the sales representative that they will always make good on their debts. So, when you're trying to sell a product that's scarce or so forth, so on, a guy needs it, how bad can creditors and so forth, so on, sales managers really be on?
Credit managers are sales inhibitors. You got some we got one that tries to help you, but they're sales inhibitors. A guy's good for the money, but they look at their credit ratings, and they might have a 650, but the guy might be worth $8 million. Then you look at another guy that don't have any. He's zero credit rating because he don't have any debt. He don't borrow money. So you got to know who you're dealing with.
Yes, sir.
I know farmers that have zero credit. Zero. But they own multiple sections of land. Multiple.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't borrow money, which they're fortunate. I mean, they're not fortunate. They're good farmers. They've done well. And the sales manager got to understand that. But you got to establish, and nowadays, everybody's got to borrow money, it seems like. So you got to get your credit established early, get your credit limits to where they need to be. You need to know how much it's going to take to grow peanuts, grow
blueberries,
corn,
hay.
blueberries. It don't matter. You just got to know how much they're going to need to use, and then you got to get their credit limit established. Because the worst thing you can do is give you 3/4 of a crop, and you run out of credit.
Yes, sir. I know that's a big issue with blueberry farmers as a whole, because you got that whole gap of 3 years that you really ain't making anything on it. So you got this whole floating of money and everything between mulch, buying the crop, buying fertilizer, buying expensive paraquat-based herbicides and so forth that aren't going to impact the actual production. So as a whole, how would you say that urgency or scarcity of a product impacts how you sell and your ability to sell?
Well, the urgency part of it is making sure you can get a hold of the product before you ever sell it. I mean, if the farmer wants it, you got to get online, you got to have the resources, you got to know people, because the basics will tend to take care of the bigger guys. And if you're a small guy, you better be in with somebody to be able to get the material to you. And don't oversell. Under promise, overproduce. The worst thing you can do is tell somebody you can do something you can't do it. And never lie.
A lot to be said about that in life in general. So,
well, if a farmer asks you a question about something and you don't know, it don't make them mad to say, I don't know, but I know somebody that does.
yes, sir.
And that's why a lot of people trust me, because I ain't gonna lie to them.
I mean, heck, you've been selling fertilizer in my family for I don't know how long.
But your grandfather and your daddy knows I ain't gonna lie to them. If I get out there and we see something I don't know what it is, and your daddy don't know, is a PhD agronomist.
Yeah.
Of course, I have taught your daddy a few things.
No, I mean, I'm sure you've gone out there and told old Dr. Travis Tootin a couple things. That.
But I do it from experience. I mean, we've tried things, and we're still trying things, but we're trying new things this year. We got new companies that are things on. But we got new companies with new products. They got free material. We're going to try test plots. What we're going to do is try to increase production and lower their cost of production. That equals more money in the farmer's pocket. And that's what we got to do. I mean, I'd hate to be in a corn belt.
No, that whole commodity crop thing's a pain.
Yeah. The only good thing about cheap corn is we have cheap fertilizer.
Yes, sir.
It used to be fuel.
Yes, sir.
Somebody asked me, what's the price of fertilizer going to do? And I said, as long as corn's $3.50 a bushel, fertilizer's cheap, or cheaper. But if corn ever goes $7, we're going back to $450 for pasture fertilizer and hay fertilizer. We're below 300 right now. In fact, it's dropped this year. And we got to get this China trade deal done. Of course, they're working on South Korea and Japan. That's coming through, so they love our beef. South Korea and Japan do, so that will help the beef industry big time. But China's a big buyer of soybeans, pork. They lost 1 million hogs over there from that virus they had. So Trump's working on it. If we can get Trump to get everything done, it'll help the farmers big time. But we just got to wade through this deal for a while. It's ugly.
Yes, sir.
Watermelons are cheap this year.
I know with everything going on as a whole, you're trying to keep everything ethical with scarcity and trying to make sure that everybody that you know is good for everything you do. And people that are good people as a whole are able to get the product they need. So I greatly thank you for having me out here and interviewing you.
Man.
And hope y'all enjoy.